Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll use quotient rule for derivatives to solve this word problem. So as per the problem, the position from its starting point S of an object that moves in a straight line at time t seconds is given by S at t equals t over t squared plus 8. And we have to find when the object changes direction. So the first thing we need to understand is what does it mean by object changes direction. So it means that the sign of the velocity changes from negative to positive or positive to negative. So in the first case, so if the velocity is negative, then the object will come to a stop. So velocity will become 0 and then the velocity will change to a positive value. Or the velocity is positive initially, then the object comes to a rest at which the velocity is 0 and after that the velocity changes to a negative value. So this is what is meant by the object changing direction. Now we are given the position function of the object. So the first step is to find the velocity function for this object, and we know the velocity function is the derivative of the position function. So we'll find the derivative of this position function, and this position function is a rational function. So we'll use the quotient rule to find its derivative. So that's our first step. So the prime of S at t, which is also equal to the velocity function. So, and now we'll use the quotient rule. So we start with the derivative of the numerator, so which is 1 times the denominator, then minus the numerator, which is t, times the derivative of the denominator, which is 2t plus 0 over the square of the denominator. Now we can simplify this expression. So we get t equals, so in the first step we just have to distribute the 1 into the parentheses, but that won't change anything. So we just get t squared plus 8. And in the next part, so 2t plus 0 is just 2t. So t times 2t is just 2t squared. So we get negative 2t squared over the denominator. Now we can simplify this expression by combining like terms in the numerator. So t square minus 2t square is equal to negative t square plus 8 over t square plus 8 square. Now the next step is to find where this velocity function is equal to 0. So if you remember, we discussed that an object changes direction when the velocity changes from negative to positive or positive to negative. So for that transition to happen, the velocity has to become 0 in between and then it can change direction. So now we'll sub in this velocity function equal to 0 and then solve for the time at which the velocity is equal to 0. So for that, we'll have to solve this equation and we'll cross multiply the denominator. So we get negative t square plus 8 equals, so 0 times t square plus 8 square is also equal to 0. Now we have to isolate t in this equation. So we'll subtract 8 from both sides. So the 8's on the left side will cancel each other out. And we get negative t squared equals negative 8. And now we can divide both sides by negative 1. So the negatives on both sides cancel each other out. And we get t squared equals 8. And now we can apply square root to both sides. So the square root and the square cancel each other out and we get t equals the square root of 8 is equal to 2.83. And the unit of time in this problem is seconds, so it's 2.83 seconds. Now we have to check whether the object changes direction at this time. So we'll find the velocity of this object just to the left side of this t value and then to the right side of this t value and check whether the sign of the velocity changes. So we can use the t values. So t equals 2.75 and t equals 3. So 2.75 is on the left side of 2.83 and 3 is to the right side of 2.83. So let's start with v at 2.75. We'll use the velocity function, which is negative 2.75 squared plus 8. So we're subbing in t as 2.75 over 2.75 squared plus 8 squared. Now we have to simplify this expression. So we start by squaring 2.75, which is equal to negative 7.5625 plus 8 over, and in the denominator, so again it's 2.75 squared, so it will be 7.5625 plus 8 and square. Now based on these numbers, so we can see that the numerator of this fraction will be positive and the denominator will also be positive. That means the velocity to the left side of the time we got 2.83 second is positive. And now we'll calculate the velocity to the right side of the point we got. So v at 3. So we'll sub in t as 3 in the velocity function. So negative 3 squared plus 8 over 3 squared plus 8 squared. Now we have to simplify this expression. So 3 squared is 9. So negative 9 plus 8 over then 9 plus 8 squared. So in the numerator, negative 9 plus 8 gives us a negative value. So we'll get a negative in the numerator and positive in the denominator. So the velocity is negative to the right side of the value we got. So that means this at t equals 2.83, the velocity changes direction from positive to negative. So that means t equals 2.83 seconds is our answer for this problem. So we can conclude, so the object changes direction at t equals 2.83 seconds. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So it's very important to analyze the problem carefully. In this case, we have to find when the object changes direction. That means when the velocity of the object changes sign from positive to negative or negative to positive. So that's why we find the velocity function and then we find the times at which the velocity is equal to 0 because that's the time at which the change will happen. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.